we sell it for, I think around $150 for a nuke. Yeah, we sell nukes for $150, and you don't think that's funny?
Wait,
You gonna laugh at my joke?
I was searching something up. What did you say?
Nah, that's not even. That's cool. It doesn't matter.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Voro-Pod. Today we have a very nice topic, and we have a very experienced, not guest,
Beekeeper.
but beekeeper
Yeah.
right here. We have
I wouldn't say experienced. I have experienced people in my family, but my father.
knowledgeable. We could say knowledgeable.
Yeah, I have a couple
Yeah.
facts I can tell the world about bees. Yeah, but before we get into that, let's just get any updates, news stories. You got anything new going on in your life?
Anything new? Nothing really new since last podcast. It's just trying to stay with the current,
Consistent with
goals,
your
consistency.
yeah.
Yes.
um
My diet plan actually.
yeah. How much calories are you eating right now?
I believe I'm eating 3,500, but my goal is from 3,500 to 4,700. So
47.
47. That's maximal. I
That's
hit
crazy.
4,700. I hit
Oh, you actually hit it?
4,700 one day. Yeah, I did.
What'd you eat?
did. All right, I bought out that one day. I bought out a lot. I spent like 20
Okay.
something bucks out. But
Were
it's
you
not insane.
supplementing with
Oh yeah,
like Chick-fil-A and stuff? Okay.
not Chick-fil-A, but Chipotle.
Chipotle. Oh,
Yeah,
Go
so
figure.
I had Chipotle later in the day. Okay, but in the morning, I had some Taco Bell as well.
Taco Bell in the morning. Can't go better
Not
than
in the
that.
morning. Actually, it was like during like 2 maybe. It was at 2.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it was funny. Yeah, I could tell you exactly actually what I ate. It was.
But did you eat at home at all? Like maybe some
Oh
probably
yeah,
snacks,
I
right?
ate at
Okay.
home. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I ate. Why is it not pulling it up? What?
You ate. What did you eat at Taco Bell? Do you not remember?
I had a cheesy gordita crunch. I had those 2 cinnamon delights. Have you had those before?
I don't know. Honestly,
They're so good.
I don't eat at
Uh,
Taco Bell. It makes my stomach hurts.
I don't eat it too because I used to work there, but I was like, I want those cinnamon delights. I really wanted those cinnamon delights. I had the nacho fries. Okay, but in the morning I had a barbecue rib sandwich. It's from either Costco or Sam's Club. I don't know exactly where it's from, but it's like a heated sandwich.
Yeah.
I had that. I had a green tea. I had an Arizona with it actually.
Okay.
Arizona with that, and then I also had a liquid IV in the morning because I was still like not feeling the greatest after
Alright,
being
get
sick.
to the calories.
All right, calories: cheesy gordita crunch, 490 calories. Cinnamon delights, nacho fries, chicken and gravy, Mary's Calendars. I bought it at Walmart.
Uh-huh.
Another Arizona, and then a Coca-Cola. I had it with the Chipotle. I'm not gonna list off my Chipotle meal, but it's
Honestly, I would stop right there.
yeah,
We've heard enough.
yeah, and then I just had protein.
I don't know, man. That was an interesting diet.
But that's not all I ate. So over here it says 4,000. It says 4,000.
Well, no, that's a lot of calories. You probably had like a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah, 4,500, and then I came home, and then we had like random sweets at home because we had like a party, not a
Mhm.
party, but just a gathering. Like a couple families gathered, and so we had like random stuff. So like munched on that, like so it counted up for sure.
Yeah.
It was in the
We were talking
47.
about this before, and you actually said that like how your body works is you can eat a lot of calories for like around 2 days, like around like your goal 3,500, 4,000 calories, and then
Mhm.
on the third day you have difficulty getting any food in, and you just feel like sick. Like, do you want to talk about that a little bit more? Yeah, how your
Yeah,
body works.
We can talk about that. I maybe because I just was never bigger. I was always at a low body fat percentage because
Mm-hmm.
I just don't necessarily, not really into eating. I don't know how to explain it. I just waste time.
You never had an
instead of eat.
appetite, right?
okay, I'm hungry, but I'm just not gonna eat, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'd rather do this. I'd rather look at my computer for a little longer, like maybe waste 30 minutes
Okay.
instead of going to get food. And then you're still hungry, but you just don't have like the 30 minutes to get hungry again. So you kind of like waste time
Yeah,
before
so
every
like
single meal.
it offsets your meal plans or whatever, and then you just end up like skipping the meal that day or skipping two, so it just ends up eating less.
Yeah, it's always like that. Like, and I just don't really want any more food.
Uh-huh.
It's it's it it was fine for me when I was young, but when I'm trying to gain weight for the gym and
Well,
getting bigger,
see, like for
it's not that
me,
good.
I I'm just hungry, but like I don't like wasting time because I get like pissed off or I don't even know how to explain. Yeah, I get definitely hangry really easily, and I just feel super sick if I don't eat. So like right away, if I start feeling hungry, I go eat, and I feel like that's why I've been bulking very easily, and I've always been like a little bit of a bigger kid. Like up until like in elementary school, I was always skinny. Middle school, I started gaining weight, and then up until right now, I've been just like an absolute unit on and
Have
off the
you
court.
have you ever been like bigger than chubby? Like I don't know how to explain. Like do you know?
Like
There's a chubby like
overweight,
yeah. I don't
overbe
want to.
yeah.
I don't want to like show examples, but like
No, I know what you
you
mean.
know what I
Like
mean,
fat.
right?
Like
Yeah.
I
Uh,
wasn't necessarily fat. I was just chubby. Like I had a little bit of a belly. I would honestly say I might be the no. Actually no. That's not the fattest I've been. In middle school, I was just pretty much skinny fat. So I had nothing on me except fat. But I wouldn't say I was overweight. Like you can definitely look around. There's like kids. Oh, like oh that kid's fat. Like you can just say that. I wasn't necessarily fat. I was just like a little chubby.
mhm.
So I guess I didn't have a problem with being like overweight or having a super slow metabolism. But yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so what happens when you on that third day? Like, why can't you eat?
So I think it's from my stomach maybe overworking or being very like expanded, I guess, maybe.
It's just
I
not
don't know.
used to it.
Maybe yeah, probably not used to the amount of food. And then like the second day it's still fine because like you feel like you still have a lot of food in you the second day. And then
Mhm.
once it like starts to empty out on the third day, I think is like third day that's when it's like completely empty and you're starving again. It just like feels sickening. Like you just don't want food. Like you smell it,
Yeah,
like you put it next to your mouth, and, like you get a little whiff of smell, and you're just like sick. I'm
that's
sick,
weird.
not
Yeah.
yours. It's me. It's just me. But yeah, like I can't even smell it because it starts to make me feel sick, and like tastes just sickening. I don't know.
Yeah, it
It's just
just
so
might
weird.
your body's not used to it because you have been like in a way starving yourself for years. So
Yeah.
to break that habit, you have to like stay consistent. It might be hard the first couple weeks, but then once you like push yourself for those days that's really hard to eat and just continue, like you'll slowly expand your stomach, and then it'll become easier to bulk. But I've
Yeah.
never had that problem, so I don't really know like what to even say or like how to describe it. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. There's actually this meme that a bunch of like people that are kind of like me on the internet. I've seen people like
Mhm.
talking about trying to get, the gym people. They're talking about like trying to get big. For skinny people, some of them are all the same. Like some of them have the same problems like me. So they say that you don't eat because you feel sick, but you feel sick because you don't eat. And so it's kind of like a loop.
Yeah, I can pull
Yeah.
that up on the video, but yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I've seen it only like once or twice on the internet, but it was like
See, I don't
I've
have that
said
problem,
this
so
before. I've said it before to people. I was like, yeah, like I feel sick because I don't eat, but then I can't eat because I feel sick. And seeing it online is like, oh yeah, there you go, same, my people or whatever.
so it's easy for you to lose weight, but hard to gain weight. You would say, correct?
I've never tried to lose
You
weight.
never tried?
I've never tried to lose weight. I've only
Hmm.
tried to gain weight. I was 135 2 to 3 years ago. I didn't work out. I didn't do anything. I might have done a couple pull-ups here and there.
Yeah.
I went to the gym, but I didn't really work out. I just went for the sauna, the jacuzzi. It was just with like, the cousins.
Yeah, it's like
We just
pretty much having a boys' day out or having fun or something. You
yeah.
can
It wasn't.
explain it that
It
way.
wasn't the gym.
You weren't consistent or like serious about it.
Yeah,
I
we weren't
mean,
really working out. We had no idea what to do. To be
I've
honest.
I've only tried to lose weight I think once. I guess twice if you count. Like I had a last year. I like tried to go in a mini cup. I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's better to bulk in my prime when I have my growth hormone like at the highest. So I'll just continue bulking. But when I was first getting into fitness, I think it was like 15 or 16, and I did Insanity, which is like a high intensity. It's called like HIIT exercises, and it's just like a crazy fat loss program. And then we did that every single day with one rest day a week for I think 2 months about, and I lost 20 pounds. Went one from 180 to 160. I can pull up my like transformation picture or like at the end picture, but that was like the only time
20
I did
pounds.
Insanity, and
That's a lot of weight.
yeah, the only time I did like a weight loss program. I did it with William and Eric, my brother and our cousin,
Hmm.
and that really helped me a lot to kind of figure out how to do meal plans and like have a good diet for like bulking and bodybuilding right now, because at that time I was doing I think 2,000 calories a day, sometimes less, and we were eating no fat at all, just carbs and protein. So just chicken, buckwheat, or just every single meal pretty much was that. Like I had egg whites. It was dry, high protein foods. It was kind of disgusting, but it worked. Like I lost so much weight really quickly and got shredded. Um, Obviously wasn't the best thing to do at that time. I think I should have just bulked, but I wanted a six pack and I didn't really know much about bodybuilding at that time. But yeah, it was a good experience because now I know what to eat for bulking wise. I'm like able to incorporate the same types of foods, but then I add more fats and more carbs into there just so I can get the calories. So yeah, it's definitely helped a lot. But
I
um
remember. I remember when you guys did Insanity and when we were at Eric's house. I remember when William pulled up. This was a long time ago, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it was
I don't remember
a
that.
long time ago. We were doing something in planks. I think William was trying to do a plank. Do you know
And
if
what happened?
he ever tried to if he actually ever got a plank down?
Wait, what do you mean? Was he trying to do like the balancing thing?
No, plank
What do
on
you
the
mean a plank?
floor. It's a plank
With
without the
his
feet.
feet off
Without
the
the feet.
ground.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember he tried to do that. Was a long time ago. It was like five,
Oh,
6 years ago.
wasn't
I
that when
think.
he was doing Insanity?
I don't think so. I think it was before that. I remember I was super young.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was when Insanity.
No, I was
Uh,
in middle school. I think when that
really?
he was doing that.
I kind of matched those, two probably together for some
Yeah.
reason.
Oh, he no. So he did it when he was in like high school or starting college, and then the second time around, I was already older and I wanted to lose weight too, and I think we all did it together at that time.
Hmm. Yeah, that's probably why. That makes
Yeah.
sense. 'Cause-
But calisthenics. We talked about that too before in the
Yeah, we
podcast.
did.
It's pretty cool to do that. I never got it down because I tried in middle school too, but it didn't work out. Um,
I wanted. I don't know. Calisthenics is just so different.
yeah, it
Like
is.
the more I think about it, like I don't know. There's just something about going to the gym and working out. It just it feels good. Maybe with people, but it still feels good. You feel like you're doing the right thing. Calisthenics. I think we've
I know
talked
that.
about it. But calisthenics just feels like you're not really succeeding, and you're just like, it didn't work out, or like you only feel like good maybe when once you like hit an actual goal. Of it's a
Yeah,
skill. We call this skills, I guess.
yeah. Um, I actually have a story I wanted to tell. This was about a week ago, I think, maybe a little bit more, but I was getting out of the gym and I had a huge pump, was absolutely filling out my clothes, and I was walking to my car all confident, and for the longest time I thought I was the biggest guy that drove a Prius, because when you think of a stereotypical Prius driver, it's like what, some old person or a liberal chump in a way you can call them. But yeah, I thought I was the biggest guy. Even in Meridian, I turned out not to be the biggest guy driving a Prius in Meridian. I was walking out and an absolute unit got out of a car. He's like 300 pounds, just legs
Bigger than
three times
Noel?
the size of mine, and he was, I would say, maybe like an inch or two shorter than me, but like absolute unit. It was crazy, and he got out of a Prius, and I was kind of embarrassed getting inside of mine at that point, you know. But it just, you don't see that every single day, like huge people driving Priuses. So I thought it was kind of funny. It was like a
Yeah,
power lifter getting out, you know.
that's funny.
Most of those people drive like Mustangs or like douchey cars.
Yeah, cause they have like, when you think about a big
You have that
guy, like,
mentality.
yeah, you have the mentality. I've seen a video about how if you go to the gym and you have a motorcycle, you think like, and you're like a big guy and drive a motorcycle, you think like you're on top of the world. Like there's nobody better than you. You know,
Super
it's
confident.
yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
stereotypical, you know. But
You know that.
dude, it's
Um,
hot in here. It's hot in my room right now.
It's cold in my room.
Really?
Yeah, Idaho's super cold. It was snowing this morning.
Well, it's
No, but-
pouring outside right now.
Yeah.
It's pouring and it's storming. I don't know if you could hear the
For
thunder.
for me as well. It's raining now, but in the morning it was snowing because it was a little bit colder. It was like 34. Right now it's 41 degrees, but yeah, it just got freezing. I was actually helping my brother out with his Airbnb property. Um, one of his guests broke some shower head, and then I don't know, maybe they didn't break it, but it was loose or something. Anyways, we had to go fix it with my dad helped me out with it, and we were cutting pieces of wood outside for like I would say around 20 minutes, and my hands got absolutely frozen. Just like I couldn't use them for the rest of the day pretty much. You have that same problem, right, where your hands and feet get cold really easily?
Oh yeah. Well, not necessarily very easily. They're just always cold. Or
They're
not, they're
just-
warm because
They're the farthest away from your body, so they end up not getting the same heat. They're always like colder than the rest.
And because I was always probably very skinny, very little
Very,
body fat.
very skinny.
That affects it, right?
Well, yeah. If you have more body fat or like size, your body produces more heat.
Yeah, because I know that
Like-
you said that you started to sweat a lot more once you gained the weight, right?
I don't know if that's so. I think that's what happened. I don't know if it's for sure, but I definitely noticed that, like at the gym, I sweat way more. Because when I first started working out, I didn't sweat that much, but now like I do a simple arm workout and I'm just like beads of sweat down my face. It's wild.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't have that.
cardio. Don't even get me started with cardio, bro. Like it feels like I took a shower after I'm done with it.
Well,
Absolutely drippy. Speaking of drippy, look at this new clothes I got. Right here, $20. Guess where I got it? Just guess.
I know where you got it.
You know where I got it, but
I
just
know where
guess.
you
You know.
got it. Let them guess. I know where you got it.
TJ Maxx. Put a poll. Oh shoot! I just smacked my mic.
No.
But yeah, I got it at TJ Maxx. Best place to shop. Cheapest clothes. Not cheap quality, but cheap price. You know. Steals and deals. That's what I call that place. I love it. I think I used to shop at the mall and I got the brands like Hollister and stuff. $40 for a shirt. It's not even worth it. I like shopping at TJ Maxx, Marshalls. They have that deal, and I end up getting like nice clothes for a cheap price. And then once I grow out of it, I just give it to Alik, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I have all his good clothes. So.
All my good clothes.
Oh yeah, all the stuff that you bought for full price.
Uh-huh.
Hollister, American Eagle. I got all of that.
And do you like it?
Oh, I love it. I think I actually messed up your Adidas shirt.
It's your Adidas shirt. It's not mine.
Well, it's not. It's mine now. But yeah, I was eating pomegranates yesterday, and I accidentally was trying to pop it open, and I squished it, and it just went everywhere. And I was wearing a white shirt.
You can use a stain
You
remover.
think so?
You're gonna have to use like bleach. No, I wouldn't use bleach. I would use there's like specific stain removers. It gets everything out. We have
I actually
some.
need to get that because
Yeah.
for some reason, last couple of days with your shirts, I've been
I'm
staying
a
away.
messy eater as well. It happens all the
Yeah,
time for me. I just get
it
absolute
sucks.
stains. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I need to get one of those. Yeah.
that's enough updates and stories. Let's get into the main topic. Okay,
Yeah.
bees, honeybees. As we said before, our family is very big into that. Our grandpa was a bee farmer in Ukraine, and then my dad, once he moved to Idaho, we didn't have bees at first. One day, my brother and my dad went over to his friend's house, and they were just like talking and like hanging out. Like the guy, my dad's friend, had kids my brother's age, and they were just like probably running around and like showing each other cool stuff from their house. And my brother's friend actually showed him a beehive that they got, and my brother got interested in that, and he asked my dad if we can get beehives or like honeybees or whatever. So my dad actually ended up posting ads on Craigslist that spring, and we got swarms. So like people, we posted like ads on Craigslist. It said like swarm removal. People get them all over the city over here. I'm sure it's like everywhere where it's warm. You get swarms, and then we went over there, collected it, and put it in our own box, and then that's how we started. And ever since then, we've been doing that every spring, just like trying to expand. And
So, wait,
yeah,
quick question. So you guys only got them from collecting swarms?
yeah. So we didn't buy any
Oh.
from a different farmer or a beekeeper. We just started from the bottom, and now we're here.
Yeah, cause normally when people start like beekeeping as a hobby or anything, they buy it from farmers.
Right, it's the easiest
And
thing to do. Just
yeah.
drop $100 or whatever it costs to get a hive, and then you start building up like that. But it's kind of a hassle. I can like let's start off what a swarm is for the people that don't know. A swarm is pretty much every spring bees lay queen bees, and once they hatch, they take around like 30 to 50% of the hive and swarm out, just like spread their numbers out or like create more colonies. And these colonies can like go, or the swarms can go like anywhere around the city, so or wherever they're at. They can go like in trees, on cars, signs. Like I have a bunch of stories and pictures of where they were. I think one time my dad and I had a call for a swarm. It was like probably 30 feet up in the air, and we had to climb up onto someone's roof 20 feet up in the air on the second story, and we are kind of like reaching over on the ladder. I was holding the box to collect the bees, and my dad's like, whatever you do, don't drop this box even if you get stung, which you will. And he shook the branch, like thousands of bees just came down. It's probably like 30,000, 20. And I like my whole entire arm was covered in them. I was just holding them. I'm like not moving at all, like super fearful. But like I don't know if you know this, but bees can smell fear. I don't.
Do they?
That's
Oh.
what I've heard. I don't know if that's like scientifically proven, but I've definitely heard that a lot. So I don't know if they smelled my fear, but I got like absolutely destroyed on my left arm. The next couple days, I had like a swollen arm and
Oh,
stuff.
that
It was just
sucks.
before I was big, so it was just unusual.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pretty much that's how we
Nice.
grew our bee farm or apiary, however you want to call it. And I can show a couple pictures of what swarms look like. Um,
Yeah, I saw the
shoot.
video of your brother, absolute monster, just
Oh yeah,
in
he
a
posted
wife
on his
beater.
YouTube channel. Yeah,
Yeah, just in a wife beater collecting bees off a branch. It's absolute absolute menace.
that was crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, I was just like, how? Because people normally wear like a full,
the whole entire
suit.
suit. Yeah,
Yeah, to collect it, but this guy just in a wife beater,
he didn't
just
care.
yeah, didn't care. That was funny to watch. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but
So
yeah,
you said that bees split up in the spring, right? You said spring.
yeah. It's
So
generally it starts uh around April, Mayish, and then ends around June.
so let's say you want to get into the business, right? You don't want your bees to leave because you're losing, you're losing an extra hive plus you're losing a
Mm-hmm.
queen. You're losing a lot. Is there any way that you could keep them instead of like having them leave? You kind of collect them
Yeah.
without having to actually have them leave.
So so to prevent the bees from leaving your boxes, and like, because once the bees leave, the hive itself or the colony becomes weak. With less numbers, obviously you're not going to produce as much honey, and you're going to be prone to like dying in the wintertime. To prevent them from spreading, you can individually take like get a extra queen, put it into a hive, and take like around 50% of the original hive and like split it up by yourself, and this will prevent the bees from like swarming out, because they're gonna realize their numbers are already low, so they can't afford to have a swarm go out right now. So they'll like somehow they're encoded to say like, oh, we're not gonna do that, and that helps prevent from your colony from like swarming out. And another way you can do it, this might be not as successful, but there are little nets you can put where like on the exits and entrances of the box, where the small bees or the worker bees can come in and out, but the queen bee, which is a little bit bigger, is not able to like pass through that net and ends up getting stuck. So in that case, the swarm's not going to leave without its queen, and you don't lose your bees. But then also like somehow maybe the queen can slip through, or the swarm can leave and not realize that the queen stayed behind, so you just have like a swarm leave and there's like no queen with it, so it ends up being bad for the bee numbers and for yourself, because they can't even swarm out properly. But yeah,
And
you can
so
prevent them.
you can prevent them. But I know when you look at the bee, what is it called? Hives, maybe.
Colony
the
hive,
boxes.
yeah.
The
Oh,
box.
the box itself.
Yeah, the boxes. They're normally stacked in twos, right? But some of them are stacked in fours. So if you have a big hive, does it matter if you have two or four? Like, will they leave if they have two and you don't
Um,
put on extra boxes? If you put on extra boxes, will they not leave? Does that make a difference or no?
so when you put on so if you don't put on any extra boxes, the hive won't be able to grow.
No,
Like, cause
that's not the question. The question is, if you add more boxes, will they not leave?
no, that doesn't matter, because
It
they're
doesn't
like
matter.
they just know how much size they have inside the hive, and they're like how their genetics work, or I don't know if that's the right word, but they're, I think, is it genetic? It
Programmed.
doesn't
I
matter.
think it's like
Yeah, program.
programming. Yeah.
Yeah, but once their numbers like hit pretty high, they end up like leaving in
Okay.
this like springtime, because like that's how bees are made to swarm. Like that's how they spread their numbers in colonies.
Yeah. So it's bad for business if they leave, but it's
Correct.
good for business if you split them. So it's you need to split them.
Yeah,
First of all, to
and
grow your business. Second of all, so they don't leave.
that's how people grow their apiaries, or like
Mhm.
make their farms bigger. Is they I talked about how to create queens in the last podcast, but you can manually create them by pretty much getting queen larvae, putting them in cells, and then putting them into a hive with no queen. They'll feed it, they'll grow and hatch, and you take them all out and just make sure they get mated. And then once the queens are mated, you can, like how I said, you can split the hives and just like put a queen in there, so they're able to start growing, have more like babies or more worker bees. Because
Yeah.
without a queen, obviously, you're not gonna have any worker bees.
Hmm. But it's not just that simple. It's a lot more complicated, right? Because
So what do you
I
mean?
know.
What's
Well,
more
I mean
complicated?
as complicated as the bees are more like they're sensitive. They're not just like you put in a bee and they'll accept her.
Oh
Sometimes they
yeah,
won't
so
accept the queen, and
you
sometimes
have to
they'll
go
die
through a
off.
process with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Everything that he's saying has to be done like well, and then sometimes it won't even work out as well, right?
yeah, sometimes the bees kill the queen. Like
Yeah.
if you get a queen from a different hive, you have to put it in a little special cage where bees can't get in there, but like the scent can still leave. So there's like little tiny vents, and you put it in there for around 2 days, and then like the bees will crawl around it, smell her, and once they're used to her, you open the cage, and then they'll accept her. And if they don't accept her, they'll obviously kill her, and then you have to get a new queen, or they'll try to make their own queen. It just depends.
I remember hearing your dad talk about how if they accepted the queen. There's like a certain way that they'll eat the
Yeah.
cage, right?
Some of them actually have a little tiny. I don't know if they're what material it is, like maybe wax or some type of. There's like some type of blockage where the bees can eat through, and it takes like a couple hours or days for a bees to get through, and then that'll allow them to get like kind of used to her. It has like a time capsule pretty much, and then she can leave. That's how it works.
Well, is there a certain way? I think it was. We don't really have to talk about it, but I think there's like some way that if they accept her, or some way they know if you don't, without actually having her, die. I think I heard your dad maybe talk about it. I don't know if it's like it's important.
Well, generally they do accept her.
Generally,
after 2 days, if they don't have a queen, they're gonna realize that. Like the only reason they'll kill her if they don't like her or if she's a bad queen. Like they can sense if she's old or is not like efficient, and then they'll kill her at that point. But at that point, you don't even want that queen, so might as well kill her.
Yeah. So so we're talking about business, right? This is business wise. What can you do with bees? Because it's
a lot.
There's a lot you could do with bees. I know that, but let's just show some examples.
I can list them all off, and then we can individually talk about each of them.
Yeah.
So, first of all, you can do like the simple thing, which is sell honey. Bees obviously are known to produce honey, and they're named after it and everything. But yeah, you can. Last year, which was a better year, this year was kind of cold for my area, and we didn't produce that much honey. But last year we got around, I'd say 100 gallons for 10 good hives, 10 solid ones.
Wow.
And
that's 10 gallons per hive?
Yeah, and sometimes it's more. Like, it just depends. That's how much we sold, was 100. And then obviously we have to leave a couple gallons for them for the winter time so they're able to eat it. But yeah, we harvest around that much.
That's good.
Yeah, like we're obviously doing this for a hobby, nothing serious yet. I want to eventually scale up, but yeah, for a hobby, that's like more than enough for your family, for your friends. You can just like give it out as like gifts for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever people give. And we ended up even selling some. The way we sell it, honestly, I'm just talking about the whole honey thing. We sell it in quarts and like little mason jars, quart mason jars, and they go for $15-$20 for a quart, depending on who we're selling to. Family or like Slavic people get 15, regular people get 20, and sometimes even cheaper. But that's how we sell it. Just like, it's not hard. You literally take out the frames from the hive, and there's like little tiny tools, little plucker thingies, and you just like scrape down to uncap them, and then put them into a little spinny thing. What are they called?
Medahonka.
Medahonka, yeah, that's how you say it in Russian.
Yeah,
but you put in one of those. I can do a couple pictures of that too. But you put
They're
in
self-made as well. I think Grandpa made. Did Grandpa make?
Oh yeah,
those?
our grandpa.
Yeah,
our grandpa made them all.
He actually made
like
me
some type of engines in there, and then just spin really quick.
I know how he makes them. He takes a running machine. What is it called?
Oh, treadmill.
Treadmill. There you go. I don't know. But yeah, he uses a treadmill motor. He tosses it in, and he uses like the treadmill stand, so that you could like move it around, like wheel it around. I never like when you look at a treadmill, you never think like, oh, I could build a Medahonka in here, but he does.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Grandpa's
I don't
crazy.
know if I don't know if he actually uses the end, like the motor from it, but like
He might use the belt. I think that's what he did.
He does use the belt. He makes. I've seen like parts of it, and then I've seen it done. He actually said that he has an extra one for me. He wanted to.
He has a lot. I think I was there last time in their garage, and they had like 2 or 3 of them. He just built them for fun.
He made a couple extra because he's like, oh, let's get it over with. I don't think he's gonna want to do anything later.
No doubt,
later in life, yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, maybe
anyways,
if I move, maybe if I once I move, I can grab an extra one. But I don't think we're really gonna.
we have two of them. It's honestly
Yeah,
fine.
it's like unless you're doing
Not necessary.
like an insane amount,
Mm-hmm.
not really necessary. But
Let me
yeah,
get
I've
back to my
actually done it
story.
before. I've took the
You've
honey.
done it? Oh, it's
I've
Liddy
done it
Sunvania,
before.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
But
very
yeah, you
tiring
just
on the hands though.
it is. It kind of sucks
Yeah,
because you have to go through so many frames.
yeah.
Yeah, you spin it, the honey comes off, and then you can just put it into we put it into like 5 gallon buckets, and when we're ready, we put it through a filter and put it in the mason jar. So like the wax pieces, or like sometimes there's bees in there and stuff like that, so they don't get into the honey jars, and then yeah, we're able to sell it after that. And
Yeah.
I actually have so the reason raw honey's so good, is because actually like when you have local raw honey, the bees um get pollen in there as well, and pollen is known to like give people allergies, especially in the springtime. And when the bees collect the honey and pollen in the springtime, they're able to put that in the honey, and the person can eat it, and it like slowly gets you used to um
Your
I
allergy?
guess the pollen, and like yeah, you can fix your allergy. So that's
That's
why a
cool.
lot of people like getting like local raw honey, and that's definitely different than like from the store because you don't have the same nutritional facts and everything in
That's
there.
actually really cool.
Yeah.
I never thought that that's how it works.
You have
Bees are
allergies?
insane. I have. I don't know if it's. I have. They said I have allergies to the pollen or something
Uh,
because my nose is always stuffy, but I don't know what it's from. Like
I
I've
see.
had my
Yeah.
whole life.
Probably
Like
some like
it's
nasal
stuffy.
problems.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't think it's because you have it in the wintertime as well, so it can't be allergies in that case.
Well, winter time, I think it's better. My winter time is
Oh,
better
really?
than in the summer. My summertime is like the worst.
Hmm.
And the winter
But
time
yeah,
is
you
the
said
best.
honeybees are insane, huh?
They are insane. They have so many like random like cool facts. You've been like
It's
seeing a
not
couple
honeybees.
facts.
It's nature. Once you
Nature.
utilize nature, you're able to become healthier, and
Yeah.
you get like all the healthy properties from it and stuff. That's pretty much everything.
No, but honeybees are still
Yeah, there's a
like
lot of stuff
honeybees
that
are
comes with
really
it.
cool.
Like pollen is super healthy. People say propolis helps with like sicknesses. You mix it with like some type of strong alcohol, like Everclear or vodka, and you just like take little shots of that, and apparently that
Mm.
helps you. I don't know if that's all entirely true. Some type of natural remedies, but
Yeah.
yeah. What else is there to it? I think that's pretty much all you can eat from bees.
Uh, do you know like the stuff that they sell? Is that the pollen that they sell? It's like I think it's pollen. They sell like these big like kind of buckets and it's like squishy. You eat them.
I don't know.
I don't know
Pollen's pretty
exactly.
expensive though.
Yeah, pollen. It's pollen.
It's like little tiny pebbles.
Yeah. That's exactly what
Okay.
I'm talking about. Yeah, I heard them. We had them like
It's like a superfood,
from a
yeah.
store. Yeah, they're like. Is it as good like, because when you talk about like honey, I know that some people say, you should take like a spoon of honey a day, and you're gonna be healthier. You know,
Mhm.
pollen. I guess it's a superfood. So
Yeah, you just put it in your smoothie and it's really good for you. We're actually gonna do that next year. There's like little pollen traps we can
mm,
put on the front of hives, and it collects the pollen off the bee's legs, like scrapes it off, and it collects
mm.
in like a little tiny thing. And you can sell it obviously, but I think we're mainly gonna do it just for ourselves right now, because that's pretty good, and if it's healthy for you, I might as well have it. Utilize
And
our resources.
so the pollen will also help you with allergies for the locally. Like
I
you
would
said,
assume.
honey will. Yeah,
Yeah,
pollen should too.
since
So
it's
pollen is something you could sell, right, as a business.
yeah.
And you said wax, right? They produce a lot of wax.
Yeah, let's go down the list. So you can sell wax, you can sell honey, you can sell the bees itself, the individual hives,
They're called nukes,
sell
right?
queens, huh?
They're called nukes.
Yeah, so nukes are
Hives.
the 5 frame ones. It's like a skinny box, and
Yeah.
those are like the cheapest options. They're like weaker hives, but
Mm.
that's what beginners usually start with. And then the last, or like not the last thing, but another thing you can do is, um, make partnerships with farmers and what are the orchard people called? They're probably farmers too, with the like almond orchards, and you make deals with them. Bring your hives onto their property, and then the bees can pollinate those trees or the plants, and that'll allow the plants to grow. So the farmers like will pay you for that. But yeah, you were talking about wax, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you can do with that is actually melt down the wax, and bees make so much excess of it, so you pretty much you scrape it off. Even when you're uncapping, you're able to like melt down that wax as well, but like they make a bunch of extra ones, so you like scrape it off. Once it gets old, you melt that down in the pot, and all the impurities rise to the top, and you get like a wax patty, like a clean yellow wax patty. And my dad doesn't really utilize. There's a fly right there. My dad doesn't really use those wax patties, but he just like might as well like melt them down and like sell them to people. And like people, he sells them for a really cheap price just to get rid of them. And people come over and like, dang, like you're selling it for such a good deal. Thank you so much. And they make candles out of him, like homemade candles, and like some people probably sell it, like make a business out of that. So that's another option. You can, I guess, do like a candle business out of wax, or we sometimes use the wax for like creams. It's like a Vaseline type of texture, and it's really good to, I guess, keep your skin moisturized. You can put it on your lips if you have cracks or like any like wounds or scars on your body, and it like, I guess, creates a seal or like a little barrier so like stuff can't get into your wound, and it like allows it to heal quicker. So that's pretty cool. You can also make a business out of that if that's what you're trying to do with like a wax thing. Honestly, don't think it's really worth it. Yeah, you can make anything a business, but like most people don't like specifically do it on wax. That's like a side thing you can do, I guess.
Well, not necessarily wax. Let's say you get into the business.
And we sell it for, I think, around $150 for a nuke. Yeah, we sell nukes for $150. And you don't think that's funny?
Wait,
You gonna laugh at my joke?
I was searching something up. What did you say?
Nah, that's not even. That's cool. It doesn't matter.
Container that we saw at your house, that I saw at your house, that your dad makes. It's like a cutout piece of, what is it? Cutout piece of.
Oh, so you put. I think that's what you're talking about. Like just the frame, into a hive without the wax piece, and then they make the wax themselves and fill it up with honey and cap it, and you're able to like take slices out of it, and then usually have the comb, and people just can chew on it like gum. And yeah, like I've seen it at the store where they have it in tiny jars. You put that in the jar and fill it up with honey, and they go for like $10 for just a little jar like this. It's crazy.
Yeah,
so you can do that.
It just looks so cool for some reason. Like
yeah,
it just
aesthetic.
looks like people would buy it, and just for like aesthetics, like they'll keep it a couple like weeks just for looks. It's really it looks good on the table, and then once you cut
decoration
into it, it looks
even
really cool. Yeah,
you can do it.
So everything that bees make can be sold, and there's just
it's very like there's so many opportunities where you can do a business with bees. You just got to be smart within, work hard, obviously. That's with everything.
But also bees are on the decline.
They are. They have been dying recently for the past like 20, 50 years. Just like 20 years they've been dying like crazy amount, but like over the past 50 years there's been like a decline. But we can talk about that a little bit later. Yeah. Let's talk about the business stuff right now. So we got wax, honey, bees. You can sell bees, which is definitely a big part of how we fund our like hobby right now. Most beekeepers try not to sell their hives because obviously that's like bad if you're losing numbers. If you want to scale up, you don't sell your hives, but we're not really, or at least my dad's not trying to have like a bunch of hives. We live in the neighborhood and we don't have like our own property yet. We just put on other people's property, so we can't have too many. And we sell any excess hives we have. So a good, like our most popular option is nukes, and those are, like I said, like frame tiny boxes, and they, I would say around like 5 to 10,000 bees in there. I'd say 5,000. I think that's a good number. Just an easy like startup for anyone that's like interested in beekeeping and they just want to try it out. I think that's a perfect option. We sell it for I think around $150 for a nuke. Yeah, we sell nukes for $150. And you don't think that's funny?
Wait,
You gonna laugh at my joke?
I was searching something up. What did you say?
Nah, that's not even. That's cool. It doesn't matter.
I was
I was
searching up
saying
how many
we
bees
sell
are in a nuke.
we sell nukes for $150.
Oh, I'll take a couple nukes. Will the U.S.
At least laugh, man. Come on.
The U.S. will stop you.
Hold on. And then obviously you can sell a 10 frame hive, which is like the typical look on the hive is like 10 frames, which is a perfect like box or square, and those go for like $250 with I would say double amount of bees, so like 10-15,000. They just
The
yeah, we
reason
usually
why.
don't-
Oh, sorry. You could keep going.
Proceed.
Okay. The reason why I mentioned that they were dying, they're dying off, was because. Amazing. Alright, so the reason why I was mentioning that they're dying off is because it's a good. I don't know if it's a good business to get into, but it's opening up, maybe? Maybe it's opening up for new people like us to get into, maybe? Because not everybody has bees anymore, and people are like, this is a lot of stress, and a lot of my bees died. I'm gonna sell them off or whatever. And so it kind of like it's going downhill. So if we get into business and we start spreading out, there's opportunities for us because there's not enough bees, right?
Right, because there's a higher demand. Farmers aren't able to get, I guess, as much numbers because beekeepers are like, shoot, this isn't worth it. We're losing too much numbers and not making enough money, so they end up like just dropping out.
So maybe the prices will go up for what is it called when you bring them to orchards? I know that this is a specific word to do that. I don't know if it was in Russian.
Exploit your resources?
I guess, but
I don't know.
yeah. So when you bring them, it might go up. Maybe inflation's gonna bring it up. Maybe something else, but it should be going up because of demand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's maybe a good time to start collecting more bees to get into it. Maybe in like a year or two.
Yeah, it's definitely. That's something I want to get into.
I know we've
my
talked
brother
about it a little bit.
My brother actually offered. So he used to do it with my dad, but he moved out and he lives in Southern California right now. So he's obviously not able to help us out with that. And I'm kind of more into helping my dad right now with that. So he offered to go into business with me and he'll buy the land. I'll just like store my bees on there. Or our bees, sorry. We've been wanting to do this for a while, for like a year or two.
Yeah.
I'll give you maybe like 10% since I'm the one supplying all the resources. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we've been wanting to do this for a couple of years now. We're talking about you moving in last year, but it just ended up not working out because of college and everything. But yeah, it's definitely a good idea to get into that right now because the numbers just keep on going down, as you said.
Yeah. So that actually leads to our next topic is like how we will be trying to do it, right? As our business plan, it says, like,
right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I said that we're gonna expand by like getting land. First of all, that's like the first step. If you don't have land, it's hard because you have to like split off the hives. Like, you have to go ask people first of all if you're able to put it on their properties, and it's kind of difficult because they're like, oh, I don't want bees on my property. They're gonna like cause problems and stuff, and so you can only put like a couple on there, and you have to spread it along the whole entire valley. That's kind of what we have right now, just like 8 different spots. We used to have it in our backyard, like 30 hives, but HOA told us to get rid of them.
Yeah. And I know you had a problem with splitting them up because you don't have any security features, because it's in the middle of a field, right?
Oh yeah, we actually had some stolen.
Yeah.
We asked some, like, I don't even know who we asked. We might have just actually put it. No. We asked a farmer if we can use his land, and he's like, yeah, I don't really use this land anymore. It's kind of like my storage area. And we put like 5 or 6 hives on there, and I assume there was a guy working on that field. He was using a tractor, and he's like super interested all of a sudden. He walked over to us and said like, oh, you have bees over here? It was some Mexican guy, but he started talking to us and seemed very interested. It's kind of interesting. Like, who else would have the idea to pull up in the middle of the night and load up 3 hives into their truck or whatever they used? Like, I feel like you have to be comfortable with that property. You're not just going to show up on the farmer's property because that's kind of sketchy. So I think it was that guy because he knew no one lived there. So he probably brought some of his amigos over and stole our hives. Kind of screwed up. It was the nicest ones too, so he knew what he was doing. It was 3 of the strongest ones. Yeah.
So you didn't take all of them. You just took the strong ones?
Yeah, it took 3 strong ones and left like 5 of them. Yeah.
That's
well,
insane.
It's probably hard to load up a bunch of bees into your hives, into your truck. So he just took the big ones and left. And the next day we came and we saw, so he probably would have came back a couple times if we never showed up. So we loaded them up and left. Yeah, that kind of sucked, but it is what it is. Like, you can't lose sleep over that.
Yeah, but do you think that it's better than keeping them all in one place because you kind of have a variety of more like plants in the area? Because if you keep them all in one place, right, the bees are going to expand, and like it's going to get further and further for them to go fly out, come back.
They're only able to fly around like 2 miles. That's like their limit.
Yeah.
Is their radius.
Do you think that if they're all in one place, is it like you're not going to get enough honey? Or
no, I mean, if you have fields next to you, you should be fine. There's like plenty. Yeah, there's like a field of mint or like whatever. There's like what other whatever crops there are. There's plenty for like hundreds of hives. Like, that's not a problem. The thing is, it's better to have them all in one area because you don't have to drive around, and it's like less to manage, and you're able to just show up, deal with all your hives, and then you're able to leave after that. It just it makes it so much simpler if you have them all in one area.
Yeah. I actually saw in California where there's like a massive field. They like dump a lot of hives in one area. I don't think they own the property. I think they asked like the company or whoever to put a bunch of hives there because it was more of a greener area, but it was still dry, for California. California is extremely dry. Like, you look around, it's like there's nothing for them to take here. What are all these hives doing there?
Right.
Yeah, California. Do you think they get a lot of honey in California?
Definitely. That's a huge like agricultural area in America. Like, that's where most beekeepers are at, and that's where they take their okay, that's where they take their bees to. Like, California is probably the most popular place during the harvesting season. That's where they take them because you have the orchards, the almond orchards, which produce so much honey, and that's what you need to kind of pollinate. And I think, California shouldn't have a problem with that for sure.
Yeah. Well, I know next to the farms and orchards, they won't have a problem, but in the middle of it, because California is dry.
I mean, you gotta obviously look where you're placing your bees. If there's no fields or like plants around, there's no honey, so you have to be like smart with your locations.
And some of the problems that you have of storing them is also the cold, right? I know that you guys sometimes carry them out to California when it's warmer, obviously, for the winter because you're scared some of them are going to die off in wherever you live. It gets really cold.
Yeah, in Idaho it gets like 20 degrees in the wintertime. So if we used to just keep them in our backyard and we wouldn't take them to California. And what we did, we just wrapped it with like insulation paper and just made sure it's all like insulated with foam pieces on the entrances and exits. And yeah, usually worked out. The weak hives would die off, but now we started taking the weaker hives to California, and it's not hard. It's just like you can stack up a bunch of them in like in a trailer or the back of a truck. And since we don't have too many hives, we're able to do one trip, take them there, and then just leave them for the winter, and they won't die. And the strong ones can stay here during the winter time because they have more heat to produce, like with more honey or with more bees.
And in the winter, they don't fly around, right? They're all inside
No, they
the
just
box.
stay inside the box and pretty much hibernate. So they clump up in the ball and just go. This vibrates super, super loud, and you can, if you put your ear up to it, you can hear the buzzing. It's pretty cool, like up to the box. And
So, do you think it'd be smart to like put them in like a warehouse in the winter where it's like a little warmer? You know, you not necessarily a warehouse, but like a building where it's like warm.
Yeah, I think that's might be what people actually do, like huge beekeepers or people that do that as their job. I'm pretty sure they put them in the warehouse. I'm not 100% sure, but
Will it keep them? Do you think it'll keep them safer from the mites and the moles, or what is
nah,
it?
because
Mites?
the mites. Well, because usually the mites affect them while they're in this, like, they infest them in the springtime and summertime, and then they're already in the hives by fall and wintertime, and they kill them during the winter, or even sometimes like before the wintertime. We can talk actually about what's been
Mites.
killing bees, like the
Yeah.
main thing. So you did say the mites. Obviously, Varroa mites is what he's talking about, and Varroa mites are the main killers of honeybees. I actually did my senior project on the environmental, I guess, health of honeybees and how they're like important and how they've been kind of like dying in recent years. And I researched that mites are the number one killer, and they kill around 30% of all hives in the world. Like all the deaths, 30% of them come from Varroa mites. And here, let me pull up some statistics if I can find it. Okay. Shoot, sorry.
Yeah, I think you said 95% of them, if they're infested with the mites, 95% chance that they're gonna die off the hive, right?
Yeah, so once they are infested, 95 to 100% of the hives will die without any like proper treatment or without proper treatment. Shoot, can you keep them busy? I need to pull up some things like accidentally.
Yeah, I could talk
Keep
about.
talking.
Yeah, but so I could talk a little bit about our business plans. We have plans to buy a little bit of land, to start collecting more beehives as they did. We will be advertising, collecting hives that go on other people's property, like in the trees or wherever they're at, because people don't want a bunch of bees flying around on their property. They'll call us, we'll pick them up, and that's an extra hive for us.
All right, enough
Which is
lollygagging.
good for business.
Here, I pulled up this stuff. Slide number 8. We got them all pulled up here. All right, so a little background on these critters. Varroa mites are actually from East Asia. They're from Indonesia originally, and the Asian honeybee. So there's like different, I guess, what are they called? Species of bees. There's the African honeybee, European honeybee, which is in America. They've imported them over here. And then they have the Asian honeybee. And since the Varroa mite is from Asia or Indonesia, the Asian honeybee, like, evolved to become, I guess, not affected by the mites, and they have like certain types of defenses that they use, and they have a way better chance of surviving. And around the 1950s, I think, 1950s or 30s, there was cargo ships that were in that area in Indonesia, and this is how most like parasitic animals spread. They get on those cargo ships, and then the cargo ships go all across the world. And by 1970s, pretty much everywhere in the world were infested with these varroa mites, and they started spreading and caused mayhem on African honeybees and European honeybees. And yeah, they pretty much cling on to a bee, and then the bee brings them back into the hive, and all it takes is one like mite, and they start reproducing super quickly. And like if there's nothing that no like medicine or anything in there, the bees will pretty much die in like a couple of months or by the off season when it gets colder. And yeah, that's a very big problem. Can't really do much about it at this
And
point.
are Asian honeybees rare?
Uh, they're rare everywhere but Asia.
Oh, because they can't live here, right?
I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know much about the Asian honeybee, but
Which
I'm
honeybees
sure.
do you usually have? Like, you guys have
In
30
America, it's pretty much only European honeybees.
European
There's
honeybees.
been like an African honeybee um, problem, I guess. Not really in Idaho yet, but they were brought to South America from Africa, and they kind of like spread up towards North America. But yeah, we have European honeybees. That's what's like most popular in America.
Yeah. And
But
so that's not the only way they die, right?
no, so
Not
they
by
also
mites.
can die from pesticides. That's I think the number two killer is pesticides, and people don't really, I guess, pay attention or care how much chemicals they use in their like gardens. And the main problem, you would think it's like those huge commercial farming companies that like spray their crops or and everything, and they're the ones that are killing all the bees. But most of the problems are coming from just like people from their own like gardens, because they're not really paying attention how much they're using. They're just like, oh well, maybe this will be enough to kill the bugs or the weeds, and just like spray like crazy, and they're not like used to that business. And that's what kills a lot of the like honeybees. Obviously, commercial farms do some damage as well, but they're heavily managed by like governmental agencies, so they're not using as like toxic chemicals, or they're using reasonable amounts.
Because they need to
And
save money, right? They're not gonna waste.
money, plus the government obviously
Yeah.
cares about the bees since they're like dying right now, so they're going to be making sure that they're not doing anything sketchy, those companies.
Yeah.
um the pesticides, varroa mites, and I think those are the two main ones. You can argue that global warming or climate change can be one of the topics, but most people or some people don't believe in that. So,
And so,
yeah.
actually, how many of your guys' bees died this year? Because I know that Vanya, he said that a couple of his beehives, or maybe even half of his beehives,
Ours,
died.
most of them didn't die.
Yeah.
My dad is pretty good at making sure that they get enough medications, or so we use APVAR strips. So we get little tiny pieces of cardboard, and you're supposed to medicate them 3 times during the whole entire summer. So you get like the chemical is called I think APVAR, and you put it into put like the strips into that, soak it, and it's pretty strong. The smell potent, but
Yep.
not good to smell it. And you just slide them under the entrances, or just put them in between like each box, and make sure like there's a couple of them, and that should kill most of the mites. and like just like kind of get rid of them. It will kill obviously the honeybees, but it won't, since they're a little bit bigger, it won't kill as many, or it'll just like kind of make them weak. And
Yeah.
but that's what's necessary obviously, because the mites will kill them quicker than the chemicals.
Yeah. Sacrifice.
Sacrifices must be made.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good that your dad knows how to do it. It's
Yeah.
good for you because you can learn from him and
Yeah,
us,
that's
I
like
guess.
the only way I was able to come up with this idea or like do the business is because of my dad. Like that's the only way I can do it.
Yeah. And since they know a lot, I know that Grandpa knows a lot. Your dad knows a lot. Vanya knows maybe similar. I don't know if because he's been doing it for a while too. He knows quite a bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I think are still dying off a little bit more than I think your guys's are.
He's
Maybe
amateur
because of
at
the
it.
area. Maybe because
Nah, he just doesn't
no?
know what he's doing.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
whatever. I don't know because California is like probably worse for the mites.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I'm not sure, but
Yeah, I'm
his are
not sure. I
dying
only
off a
know
little bit.
Idaho stuff.
Yeah, so that's a very good advantage that we have for starting
Mm-hmm.
this business because we have experienced people that work with bees. So it's gonna be a little easier for us to start it off.
Yeah.
Get it
And
going, yeah.
I could talk actually a little bit more about like how they're dying. So by the like in the last, I would say, 20 years, there's been a steady decrease of around like 30% of colonies every single year. So farmers are reporting this, like the bee farmers, they're losing around 30% of their numbers on average. And that's been like doing that for the past 20 years, just like a steady decrease. And obviously that's going to cause a lot of what is the word for ecosystem imbalances, and yeah, with that, farmers will lose their colony numbers, and like less and less farm beekeepers are going to be doing beekeeping because they're not able to support their families with no money. They're not going to have it like because they're having less and less bees, and it's becoming a hassle and it's super stressful, like making sure the numbers are good. Um, and if this continues, like with less bees, we're gonna have less produce and stuff. I can actually talk about how important bees are for our environment. So here's a couple like cool facts. 4 to 5 plants on Earth are actually pollinated by some type of honeybees. So there's like a bunch of different species, but 4 to 5 of plants are pollinated by them. So if bees start to decrease or get extinct, then we're gonna have less and less produce being um, pollinated, and like it won't have as much plants. And 1 out of 3 bites that you take on your plate is thanks to bees. Can you believe that? 1 out of 3 bites. For you, it's probably like
Insane.
1 out of 10 bites since you eat all that Taco Bell.
I eat a
I'm
lot of
kidding,
Taco Bell,
man.
to be honest.
They don't have real beef in there, I
Good.
don't think.
I mean, do bunnies produce beef?
Bunnies?
What did I just say?
What are
I
you
have
talking
no
about, my
idea
boy?
what I just said. That came
Bunnies? I don't think they produce beef.
whatever. Do bees have an effect on beef?
Yeah, so
Oh,
bees
okay.
pollinate, like I said, 4 out of 5 plants in the world, and they pollinate the main source of food for cattle, pigs, and chickens. So the three like most popular meats that Americans eat, and I'm guarantee you, probably around the world, that's what most people eat as like the most popular things. And with that, we're not even gonna when if the bees continue to die off, we're not gonna have any plants or plants, vegetables, fruits, or whatever, and we won't also have any like meat products because we're gonna have less food to feed the cattle and the chickens and pigs. So that's also gonna have a huge effect. Another fact is that bees pollinate $215 billion worth of crops annually, just in America.
200. Say that number again.
215 billion.
That's insane. I was looking at the number. The bee what is it called? The whole bee industry is only worth less
Agriculture
than
industry or
half
bee
a
industry?
million dollars. No, half a
Just bee
billion dollars.
industry?
The bee industry.
Oh, what?
It's half a billion dollars, I think. So
Interesting.
215 billion is all like made by half a billion dollars.
Yeah, so
As in
they
bees.
pollinate $215 billion worth of agricultural products.
So that's a multiply of 200 plus. So 200 like 30 times.
Huh?
No, 400 times.
What are you talking about?
So no, I'm talking about okay. The bee industry is worth.
Oh, you're
half a
talking
billion.
about like how much more,
Number money.
how much it
right?
produces compared
Yeah,
to
how
the
much
bee
it
industry?
produces.
The ratio? Well,
No, the
yeah.
ratio of how much because the bees kind of create the agriculture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're responsible for the agriculture in a way, sort of in a way. So it's kind of like multiplier. If we lose all the bees, that's gonna go down. The agriculture is whole agriculture industry is gonna plummet.
Yeah. Definitely will plummet.
Yeah.
Um,
We kind of skipped our business talk.
did we?
Yeah, we only talked about how we're gonna buy land and how we're gonna start collecting. We didn't really talk about after that, because with all the stuff that we have, like let's say we start having bees, um, we get wax, pollen, honey, everything. What are we gonna do with it?
Sell it.
Sell it? But
What
how?
do you
Okay,
mean?
okay. So okay, we had ideas to make our own brand, right? To start selling, bee, honey, maybe bees, but it's probably not a good idea to sell bees because you want them. But yeah, so honey, candles, pollen as a superfood, we could do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And build a brand name, which I've seen quite a bit of honey. Like a lot of companies use honey in the name because it's like supposed to be, cool
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So that's something that we want to do, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So what other questions did you have with that? I think didn't we talk about the business part of it?
We talked about what's possible. We didn't say what we were gonna do.
I don't know. Well, like with the bees, we're gonna split the numbers up by, like how I said before, you're gonna obviously get the queens, split them up, create more and more hives this way, and then you're able to take the bees to orchards and different farms and fields and sell your service, your bee service, for money. That's another way we can utilize our bee, which is going to be where most of the money comes from. You can make hundreds of $1,000s a season by taking 500 bees to like a farmer and giving them out so they can pollinate. You can sell honey, obviously, by using the method that I talked about, like the uncapping. And how you sell that honey, you obviously have to get FDA approved once you're a massive corporation, or I guess like if you're selling a lot of honey, you're going to have to get FDA approved because it gets on their radar. And by doing this, you can sell it at like local farmers markets or bazaars or whatever they're called. You could also make partnerships with like stores, which is probably a little bit harder with like raw honey, because I guess if you get FDA approved, it should be fine. But
But it
generally, it's
crystallizes,
easier
right?
to. It does, yeah, that's true. So it has to be. That's why it's
So-
probably better at farmers markets, because you can just like
Yeah.
do it during the season, just sell them out, and then it'll be good.
Because when you look at like the stores, you walk next to the honey, it's all like perfect. The honey is like perfect. It looks, liquidy. Looks perfect.
Super
once-
light.
Yeah. Once you
So
go,
generally, honey's darker too.
yeah, you have honey at home, right? That's crystallized already.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not very like visually pleasing to like buy the honey, or
Because
have
when
it.
it's runny, you can see completely through it. But when it crystallizes, it has like you can't see through it. It's like pretty much just a white, brown like mush. That's what it turns into. It's not even like liquidy anymore. You have to like scoop it out, and the reason it does that is because there's like some type of oxidation process that happens once it gets oxygen in there. It somehow reacts with the honey, and then it crystallizes. And the way that the stores or the store brands do like prevent that from happening, they cook it or create like make it not raw, and that kills a lot of the nutrients and all like the medicinal values to it. It just pretty much just becomes sugar. That's what it like, because that's what honey is, and it's not even healthy at that point. Just a flavor.
Yeah. It loses all its strength, basically.
Yeah.
Everything that it was, known for. That's good.
No doubt. Oh, also another thing you can do is bee venom. Have you ever heard of
No,
people
I
selling
haven't.
bee venom?
No.
So this might be like an inhumane way, not inhumane, not an ethical thing to do, because since the numbers are dying out, it's probably not a good idea to kill them. But like as you know, when bees sting, they end up dying because it like rips out their whole entire intestinal or like whatever. Their whole body pretty much splits apart once it stings someone or something. And so the way you collect bee venom is you put like a shield, like a glass type of thing. It's a special material. I don't remember what it's called, but you put that right in front of the hive, and somehow that aggravates the bees, or they end up having the urge to sting, and they end up stinging this material, and the bee venom's like drips down it and gets collected into a little bottle. And this stuff is considered to be like liquid gold. Let me look up how much it cost.
Really?
Yeah, it's super expensive.
What
So
is it used?
up to
what is it used-
$300 per gram.
Really? Wow.
Per
What
gram.
is it used for, though?
It's like a medication. So people that have inflammation in their joints, so like arthritis or any other conditions, I don't know the names, but like it's a huge thing with arthritis. Your joints end up getting inflamed, and once you inject that into your joints, it somehow relieves the pain and becomes less inflamed or something. So
Is it sold to doctors, or is it like a home type of thing? Only like people.
doctors like can prescribe it, I think.
Really?
I'm sure you can sell it to anyone, but
Because you need to inject it into the joint, right? It's not for like you can't take
beats
it
me.
away.
I think
So
you
that's a
can
more
do.
like serious type.
I
Of
wouldn't say actually into the joints, because I've seen videos where people actually get like bees with forceps. They get it around their neck, and they uh, put it up to their skin where they hurt, and they sting it, and then that apparently relieves the pain as well.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not even that, but it's not even like injecting into the joints. So
Oh.
you can also make a pretty good business off that, since 300 per gram. I guess you do have to kill a lot of bees for
Lot of little
that,
bees,
because
yeah.
they barely extract it. Like one bee has probably 0.00001 of a gram, so add that
Really?
up. That's a lot of bees.
We
can
can make
actually
the
look it
math.
up. All right, so I found it here online how much venom one bee produces. So one bee approximately has around 1.3 milligrams. So you gotta get like you can do the math on there. There's probably like 100 of them to create a gram. It just depends. So it can end up being worth it, but who knows if it's like honestly worth it to kill that many bees. You'll help people out, but you can harm your bee numbers.
Yeah, you're basically sacrificing a beehive because it actually says 1,000 milligrams are in a gram, so that's
Yeah.
1,000 bees will have to die for a gram.
Well, a little bit less. 300.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So that's how much? $300 per gram, and your hive usually has how many?
Thousands, like
Bees.
30,000, 40.
30,000.
Depends
If
on
it's
the
a good
size.
hive, right?
It can go up to like 60, 80.
Okay, so it might be worth it if you like put a little like put those traps in front of the good ones, and you get a couple of grams. Don't kill off the whole beehive, but you
You
put it
think
in
so?
front of. Hopefully not, because you still need them up and running, and then you can just like take a little bit from this one, take a little bit from this hive. If let's say you have 200 hives, um, I don't know if that's a lot or that's a little. Maybe starting off that's a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
once you're like established, maybe you'll have 200 hives. Maybe not all good, but you might have like 50 good ones. You could like take a couple of grams from this one, a couple of grams from this one, and you'll be making a good amount of money.
Yeah. Well, since the hives are dying right now, I feel like we talked about everything without business and what you can do with honeybees, but what the people that are watching this podcast can do to help since the bees are dying. Uh, a thing you can do is, so we talked about how they swarm. You can contact local beekeepers in your area. They have ads like on Google, on Craigslist, wherever. You can just contact them. They'll come pick it up, make sure the bees are like safe and have a place to live. And you're also helping out the beekeepers so they're able to get more hives. So that's one way you can help. Another way you can help is using less pesticides and all those like harmful chemicals. You can use alternatives that are safe for bees. And I guess this isn't necessarily what people can do, but you can fund the Varroa medication, like the research. There's not too many, I guess, good medications on the market right now, so I guess helping fund that can help. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Those are like the main things you can do to help the bees.
In reality, though, people are not really gonna help, but it's probably gonna be up to like the farmers or the people that want to get into the business to do it,
Mm-hmm.
because like let's say we want to get into the business, we want our bees to stop from dying. We'll probably put some money into the research, or help out a little bit. But yeah, because people, I've noticed that people don't really care about bees, like regular people. They know nothing about bees.
Right, it
Right? They
doesn't
don't know.
affect their life right now, so there's
Yeah.
nothing to, like there's no reason for them to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like
But in reality, if something happens to the bees, um,
it'll cause
food,
problems right away.
yeah, right away you'll notice less food. It's gonna be, you might starve, but not necessarily. Depending on where you live, you might start to starve faster, or there's it's a big bees are a or big factor in agriculture. I don't know, maybe a couple of other industries, but probably the meat industry.
Yeah. I
So
mean, yeah, we've talked about pretty much everything that we had on our schedule or plan today. So thanks for listening, watching, guys. Yeah, I'll just sign off here. See ya.